Welcome back, YouTube peeps. It's your boy Michael, aka Camo Man, and this will be one of the last videos in this series. This is something that, well, let me catch you guys up. If you've not been following us, this series is about budget fishing finds, shall I say? Because I've gone through and rods, reels, lures, all other kind of things. This is going to be, I will tell you now, probably one of my most controversial videos of the first series, because I don't see a lot of people fishing with these. And prior to what I'm about to show you, I was one of those that was on the singular fence. But let me show you this product. I was extremely, this is probably out of everything that I've shown you, this is the most impressed I was of a product for what it actually is. And a lot of people don't fish with these, and I'm really not certain why. But let me show you. This is the Entsport 2-piece rod. Oops, sorry. This rod in itself. Entsport. I am going to go on for a while about this rod itself. The reason why I don't fish 2-piece is because there's a misconception. I believe there is a misconception. The 2-piece rods don't offer a couple of things. Number one, you lose sensitivity. I don't believe that that's the case remedied with it. I think it's remedied with this actual 2-piece rod. For me, the second thing is you have to retie every time, especially to compact it down. I've never found a way to where you can have a reel, a rod, line, lure, and put it in here into a fashion to where it really, packs up nicely. I'm certain it exists out there. In the comments, if you want to tell me, hey, this is how I do it, or go watch this guy, I'm all about learning. I got no problems trying to learn new things. I'm not one of those people out there that say, oh, this is my way and it's the only way it's ever going to get done. Just not true. Well, in my case, it's not. So let me tell you about this rod in itself, and it does come in a spinning version as well. $37.99. And what you get for $37.99 is the actual, handle, with the reel seat, first eye, and you get 2 tips. And this will be a medium heavy and a medium. No, medium. There you go. So when this rod is fully extended, both the tips on here, it's 7 foot. It's a 7 foot rod. They do have it in smaller or different sizes. I chose to get the 7 foot. They actually do have it in higher sizes, 7.3, 7.4, I believe. But let me go through this and tell you what blew me away. Again, I have some very high-end rods and reels and fishing tackle and other things involving fishing. The things that you get on this rod versus high-end rods, this should be a lot more. And I'm not telling these guys to go up on their pricing because they're the one that set the pricing. But let's just start at the butt of it. It is a split butt rod. It does have an epoxy coating here. This is a 24-ton graphite blank. It's an IM6 rod. It's not going to be crazy sensitive. I believe just initially that you'd have no problems, worm fishing, any type of power bait fishing with this rod. Anything that you're pulling through the water, you don't need crazy sensitivity anyway. I don't care what anybody tells you, from top pros all the way down to average Joes like me. You don't need a crazy sensitive rod for anything other than something you're moving extremely slow. If you're drop shotting, great. If you're finesse worm fishing with a 1/16 of an ounce belly weight, hey, you need that because you want to know if the fish swims by it. But for this rod in particular, what I'm trying to tell you this would apply for. This rod in itself should be worth a lot more money. So again, let's go back to the back. Split butt handle. This is an EVA foam. I do like EVA foam. A lot of people don't. Well, some people don't. I think that EVA foam is actually comfortable. It does have a epoxy split butt. Even on some high-end rods, you don't get this epoxy here. It's just bare graphite, or they do have a very thin, clear coat or something on there. It does have this gold inlay on it, milled gold inlay. I'm not real crazy about the actual designs that they put on here. This is some type of Orion design. That's fine. That's fine by me. It's not going to make me not buy this rod itself. So this, couldn't tell you if it's a Fuji reel seat or what type of reel seat it is, but I can tell you this. It's an extremely hard plastic. See that? So that's just from the reel seat back. That's kind of, the pros for me. It does have an articulated bait holder, so you can flip it up or back, or forwards or backwards, however you wanted to put the bait. But there's really ceramic guides. These are ceramic, they're brass colored, but they're ceramic guides from what I understand. It does have, and you can tell here, a longer reel seat. That's probably 3 inches, pretty close. Yeah, that's probably 3 inches, to where once you seat it down on there, it'll start way up here, and then once you get it tight, it's extremely tight. I don't believe you're going to sling this off. If you are one of those people that say, oh, I'm not going to fish with a 2-piece because I start slinging it off, or time will tell, does it get wallowed out enough to where every 15 casts you're throwing the tip off? If that is the case, instead of ditching the rod, just put a drop of epoxy on the male end of it. Sure, make sure it's dry, but put a drop of 2-ton epoxy all the way around, and then seat your, line your eyes up and then seat your rod on. Now you've got a 1-piece, you don't have to throw the thing in the trash. The 2 things are really important to me on this rod itself. Number 1, I frog fish a lot, and if I was fishing with the medium heavy tip, you see this slot? Oh, there it is. You can see it through my face. You see that slot right there on the pistol grip part? So when I'm done frog fishing, a lot of times it doesn't go in the smaller articulated bait holder right here. It doesn't necessarily go in a smaller one. But if you turn that sideways, a 5/0 hook, even a Magnum frog hook would go in there no problem. Again, that would have to do with the, breaking it down and keeping the lure tied and not having to retie it. But the most important thing that's really sold me on this, and I'll be honest with you, I did not know, doing the research, I did not know until I actually received the rod. And again, I do have a spinning version as well, and it's 8 eyes, I believe. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 eyes. But one thing that blew me away, and I don't know if any higher end rod manufacturers are doing this. If they are, I don't own one. And I've got some custom rods. I've got, large box retailer high end rods that I do use quite a bit, but it took a $37.99 rod to show me what's available and what's out there. So pay attention. Hear that? That's an audible reel seat. At first I was like, oh, that's a cool feature. And then I started really kind of replaying as to what the advantages of that would be. It's extremely smart of these guys to think of that. I'm certain they're not the only ones out there to do it, but again, it's the very first rod I've picked up that does have an audible reel seat. And it's loud. I mean, I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but this is not like, hey, I can barely hear it. So what that does, and I've seen professional fishermen, bass fishermen, professional fishermen period, that are fishing with the most expensive stuff that you can get, and they're tightening up their reel seat. They've hooked into a 7.5 pound bass that could win them 50 grand in a tournament, and they're tightening down their reel seat. I mean, with that audible reel seat, at least you would hear it before it backed out. Most of the time you can only tell when it gets wobbly on your on the rod itself, the reel I'm talking about now, will either get wobbly or it'll just feel some play in it. But with an audible reel seat, man, that's extremely smart. So for $37.99, I would dare anyone to throw all of these components on a rod that's $37.99. Really the cheapest rod that you can find in any large box retailer, 9 times out of 10 is a private label rod. They're not near the quality of this, not even close. The epoxy wraps on here, the wraps, the way that they do the epoxy on the eyes, the gold inlay, ceramic eyes, the taper. Before I get out of here, let me show you the taper. You know, if you're fishing, crankbait fishing with the medium and said, hey, I want to go to worm fishing now. You know, it's just a matter of swapping the two tips, but I did want to show you, you know, the mating of them prior to getting out of here. So that's relatively tight there. You see how much play that I have? That's relatively tight. Now I did want to line them up. Well, that's really close actually. So once you line these up, you see how much it moved? So there's probably 3/4 of an inch. It may be hard to tell on camera, but there's about 3/4 of an inch to where it seats. So that means you've got what, 2 1/4 inches of the actual blank that's inside the female end of it. So, I mean, this thing is solid as a rock. I will fish with this very soon. I'm actually gonna probably keep these and order some more, just for the simple fact that I like a lot of these features that are in it. So go pick you up an Entsport, whichever size you want. I believe they have it under there, like the Camo series or something like that, due to this EVA camo handle. Could they have gone with a solid black and made it more appealing? Sure. I mean, it's still a pretty rod. I love camo, but I still think that the black EVA foam or even another colored EVA foam would have paired better here, but I don't care. I'm fishing, I'm not modeling. So go out and pick you up an Entsport 2-piece. I don't think you'll have any problems with this. See you guys next week.